If you're confused about which heroes to pick in the EXP lane, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which hero to pick for almost every draft situation. The EXP lane is one of the most important roles on the battlefield. You're not just farming and pushing lanes, you're creating pressure, controlling teamfights, and making a huge impact during turtle and lord fights. But here's the problem. Not every EXP laner works in every draft. Sometimes you need a strong frontliner. Sometimes you need a hero who can dive the enemy backline. And sometimes you simply need someone who can survive against a difficult matchup. So instead of blindly picking your favorite hero, I'm going to show you the best EXP lane picks for different situations, and more importantly, when you should actually pick them. By the end, you'll have a much clearer idea of what to pick during your next ranked game. So let's get into it. Now, there are 5 different types of roles you can play in the EXP lane. And for each role, I'm going to recommend 5 of the best heroes right now, so you can choose the one that fits your playstyle and start mastering it. Let's start with the first one, the Frontline. A Frontline EXP laner has one simple job: take the damage and create opportunities for your team. You're the hero who walks into the middle of the fight, absorbs enemy damage, and starts or controls the team fight when your team is ready to follow up. So when should you pick a Frontline? If your team has a support type roamer who doesn't have much HP or durability, a tanky EXP laner can give your team the extra frontline it needs. You can also pick one when your team already has plenty of damage dealers, but is missing a hero who can soak up damage and survive in the middle of the fight. In simple words, if your team has enough damage but lacks durability, you become the wall. And my 5 recommended frontline EXP laners are Phoveus, Gatot Kacha, Glue, Uranus, and Badang. All 5 of these heroes are difficult to take down and can provide your team with a strong frontline presence. But remember, the hero alone doesn't make you tanky. Your build matters too. You can start with the build used by top players, but don't blindly copy it every game. Always look at the enemy composition and adjust 1 or 2 items depending on the damage type and heroes you're facing. Because the best build isn't always the most popular build. It's the build that helps you survive against the enemy team in your current match. Next up, we have the Sustane role. If frontline heroes are the wall of your team, Sustane heroes are the fighters who refuse to go down. A Sustane EXP laner relies on spell vamp, healing, and durability to outlast enemies in extended fights. Unlike frontline heroes, they may not be as naturally tanky, but what they lack in raw durability, they make up for with massive sustain and healing. And this is what makes them so dangerous. A good Sustane EXP laner can jump into a fight against 3, 4, or even 5 enemies and still survive long enough to turn the fight around. These are the heroes that truly represent what a fighter should feel like in MLBB. So, when should you pick them? You can pick Sustane heroes under similar conditions as frontline heroes, especially when your team needs someone who can stay in the middle of a fight for a long time. But there's one big difference. Sustane heroes are much more aggressive. Instead of simply absorbing damage, you're constantly looking for opportunities to deal damage, heal yourself, and slowly overwhelm the enemy. My 5 recommended Sustane EXP laners are Yuzhong, Ruby, Lapu Lapu, Lucas, and Cici. And when it comes to their builds, I highly recommend experimenting and creating your own setup. These heroes are extremely flexible. You can build them tanky, focus on spell vamp and sustain, or go for a more damage-oriented build. Just remember, don't copy a build blindly. Understand what your hero needs, look at the enemy lineup, and adjust your items accordingly. Because with Sustane heroes, the right build can be the difference between getting deleted instantly and surviving long enough to wipe the entire enemy team. Up next, we have the Duelist role. If you enjoy dominating your lane and proving who's the better EXP laner, this role is for you. Duelists are built around one thing: winning 1v1 fights. These heroes have extremely high damage output, which gives them a huge advantage when facing an enemy alone. And because of that, they can control the lane, force the enemy to play defensively, and create pressure across the map. My 5 recommended Duelist EXP laners are Dyrith, Freya, Thamuz, Sylvana, and Alice. So, when should you pick a Duelist? You can pick them into almost any EXP lane matchup, as long as you're not facing a direct counter to your hero. And there's another important condition. If your team already has a solid frontline, you have much more freedom to pick a high damage Duelist. Your job then becomes simple. Win your lane, create pressure, and delete anyone who tries to fight you alone. But there's one catch. Duelists can be extremely powerful, but only when you actually know how to use them. If you haven't mastered your hero yet, you're going to struggle with things like combos, timing, positioning, and knowing exactly when to engage. So don't judge these heroes after playing just a few matches. Master the hero first, and then let the 1 versus 1s speak for themselves. Moving on, we have the split pusher role. And this role is all about one thing: pressure. Your main job as a split pusher is to destroy turrets, push lanes, and force the enemy team to constantly respond to you. But let me make one thing clear. I'm not saying you should completely abandon your team and spend the entire game pushing a side lane. Teamfights still matter, but your main priority should always be creating pressure on the map and taking down as many turrets as possible. And that means you need something very important: great map awareness. You need to know when you can safely push, when you need to back off, and most importantly, when to join the fight and when to keep pushing. Because one wrong decision can get you caught, while one good decision can win your team the entire game. My 5 recommended split pusher EXP laners are Zilong, Sun, Argus, Masha, and Roger. So, when should you pick them? I'd mainly recommend these heroes when you're playing solo queue and you don't completely trust your team to carry the game. And honestly, that's one of the biggest reasons players choose split pushers. Instead of relying entirely on your teammates to win every teamfight, you create your own win condition. You keep pushing. You take turrets. You force enemies to leave their team and come deal with you. And if they ignore you, you take their entire base. So remember, you're not avoiding teamfights because you're scared of them. You're making the enemy choose, fight your team, or stop you from destroying their base. And that pressure is what makes a great split pusher so annoying to deal with. And finally, we have the high skill ceiling role. And as the name suggests, these heroes are all about skill. Their performance depends heavily on how well you can play them. The better your mechanics, combos, timing, positioning, and decision-making become, the stronger these heroes become. And that's what makes them so satisfying to master. With these heroes, the biggest thing holding you back isn't necessarily the hero itself. It's your skill level. Of course, you can still struggle against a highly skilled opponent or run into a terrible matchup. But if you master your hero, you can turn even difficult situations into winning plays. My 5 recommended high-skill ceiling EXP laners are Benedetta, Cho, Arlott, Paquito, and Minsathar. And the best part? You have a lot of freedom when picking these heroes. They can work in a wide variety of situations, and a highly skilled player can make them extremely difficult for the enemy to deal with. But don't expect to dominate from your first few games. These heroes require practice, patience, and a lot of mechanical skill. So if you've picked one of these heroes, don't just play them, master them. Learn every combo, learn every matchup. Learn when to engage, when to retreat, and when to make that one play that completely changes the game. Because once you reach that level, the enemy isn't fighting your hero anymore. They're fighting you.
And that's it for all 5 EXP lane roles. From frontliners and Sustane fighters to duelists, split pushers, and high-skill ceiling heroes, there's a playstyle for everyone. Now it's your turn. Pick the role that matches your playstyle, master your hero, and dominate the EXP lane. If this guide helped you, make sure to like and subscribe for more Mobile Legends guides. And I'll see you in the next one. Good luck, and keep grinding.